special guests.
Thank you, Bliss. We are in the WRTI 90.1 Performance Studio with some wonderful Astral artists, 2 of the 4 who'll be performing on our block party tomorrow. Very excited to hear them play, and also Astral's artistic director, Dan Visconti. Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
We would love to hear some music that will be played tomorrow, and I think, Rachel, you've brought along a piece for us, Rachel Lee Hall on harp. Could you introduce that for us?
Sure. The piece is Chanson dans la nuit by Carlos Salzedo. Salzedo was probably the champion harp composer of the 20th century because he not only expanded the capabilities of the harp then, but he also, in a way, expanded the capabilities of his audiences by bringing new sounds to the harp that were sort of outside what people thought of when they came to a concert hall expecting harp music. So this piece, you will hear that it goes beyond the harp stereotypes. We have a lot of extended techniques that you'll notice in the piece, and it's supposed to depict what you might feel or what you might hear or see if you're on a stroll in the middle of the night. So it's
Wonderful.
translated Song in the Night.
Beautiful. If you're just joining us, we are in the WRTI 91.1 Performance Studio, and we've just heard Rachel Lee Hall and Carlos Salcedo's Chanson de nuit, Song of the Night. That was gorgeous.
Thank you.
So many sounds and colors you got out of your gorgeous instrument, and I believe that you transported this instrument this morning.
I did transport it, yes.
Tell us how you did that, because I believe you live quite far away.
I do. I live in Roanoke, Virginia, which is southwest Virginia, and it's about a 7-hour drive. So I packed it up with my my 6-wheel cart, and I put it in my Outback, and we just made it here this morning.
That's great. I have an Outback too. Station wagons come in handy, I guess, when you're
They
harpist.
sure do.
And muscles
They're
as well.
roomy. Roomier than you think.
Now, you've won many competitions, and this year you won the 2019 International I'm a Hogg competition with the Houston Symphony.
That's right.
Tell us about that.
It was such a wonderful experience, and what a nice surprise to be the gold medalist, but just working with all of those incredible musicians there and being able to play on the same stage with everyone was incredible. And then my return trip in July, I was able to perform the Ginocera Harp Concerto with the Houston Symphony, and it was such a wonderful experience.
And that is really a fantastic 20th century concerto, one of the best.
It's my favorite.
And so I was looking at your biography, and I was fascinated to see that you're also a eurythmics teacher. What is
I am.
eurythmics?
Eurythmics is the study of rhythm using movement. So the idea is that if you're walking and your bare foot hits the floor with specific rhythms, you're going to be more likely to understand those rhythms better, because that's a really solid piece of information. So.
And is that able to help children with their musical studies as well as adults?
It helps so much. It's incredible to see a child understand complicated rhythms that I used to have trouble with, as an adult, before I learned eurythmics, and even before they know the names of rhythms, they can understand and execute all of them.
Well, the block party coming up tomorrow, 3 to 5 p.m., is family friendly, so maybe some kids will approach you and maybe get a eurythmics lesson.
That would be great.
Great. We hope that everyone will come down tomorrow to our block party. It's the second annual WRTI Astral Block Party, 1213 Walnut Street, 3 to 5 p.m. It's free. Incredible astral artists will be performing live music, and you can meet Rachel and hear her play tomorrow. We have another artist who's going to be performing tomorrow, and I'd like to bring up Beomjae Kim. Beomjae, welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
And Beomjae, you're a flutist, and I believe you have a very interesting piece that you'd like to share with us.
Yes, I'm going to play the third movement of Oriental Suite, written by a French composer. His name is Pierre-Octave Ferroud. Ferroud is a very unfortunately short-lived composer, but his music, especially his first symphony, was apparently highly praised by Sergei Prokofiev. And this particular piece that I'm going to play is the third movement from the solo suite. It has an interesting story to it, because it's based on a Chinese festival, the Festival of Double Five, which is the 5th of May, and they celebrate a mythical figure in Chinese poems and historical stories. So in the middle of the piece has little quotation of the festival music, which is very slow, and I'm sure you'll be able to recognize if you have been to that festival.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Beomjae, come back. We're not done with you. If you're just joining us, we're in the WRTI 90.1 Performance Studio. We've just heard Beomjae Kim in a wonderful piece by French composer Pierre-Octave Ferroud. What an interesting name. And it's called Toan Yan, Festival of Double Five, the 5th of May. It was great.
Thank you so much.
Has so much color and also virtuosity and lyricism. I believe that the New York Times praised you for your memorable lyrical eloquence.
Yes, thank you. I'm extremely grateful for that quote.
And well, we are grateful that you are here and also that you'll be performing tomorrow on the WRTI Astral Block Party that's taking place in Center City, Philadelphia. I just want to remind our listeners once again, 1213 Walnut Street, 3 to 5 p.m. It is free. You can hear these exciting, wonderful astral artists. We also will have Brittany Lash on trombone, and Vladimir Fung on cello will be joining Beomjae Kim and Rachel Lee Hall, who are here today for our performance. Now, Beomjae, I understand that you're not only just a performer, but you are also a composer and arranger, and you've created something as a grand finale for tomorrow's block party. What is it?
I'm so excited to present and have this opportunity to present an arrangement of three Beatles songs. And I don't call myself a composer, so I had tremendous help from Dan Visconti, who's the artistic director of Astral and himself is a very well-established, well-known composer. So the three songs that I picked for the block party is called, they are Yesterday, Got to Get You Into My Life, and The Fool on the Hill. And I'm so excited and so grateful that everyone is on board with me.
Good. So all four players will be performing your Beatles arrangements tomorrow.
That's correct.
So the instrumentation again will be?
Flute, trombone, cello, and harp.
Fantastic. Well, we can't wait to hear that. Everybody loves the Beatles. Dan, I'd like to bring you up here. Dan Visconti is the artistic director of Astral Artists. And Dan, we're so glad to have you here in the studio. I think it's your first visit.
Well, thank you so much for having me and for having so many of our artists across the seasons.
And not only are we going to be hearing Beomjae Kim, whom we just heard play Toan Yan, and also Rachel Lee Hall on harp. Who are the other two artists? Just describe them a little bit for tomorrow's block party.
Sure. We're also going to hear from Vladimir Fung, who's a cellist and recent winner of the Tchaikovsky International Competition, as well as our trombonist, Brittany Lash, who is going to be playing some amazing music, including a piece for trombone and looping pedal. It was written by a heavy metal guitarist and musician. So as you can see, it's not our idea of what classical music is a wide one. It's open to a lot of influences and a lot of fun.
I just wanted you to mention for our listeners who may not know about Astral, it has a very important presence here in Philadelphia, and it's been around for quite a number of years, Astral.
That's correct. Astral was founded over 25 years ago by Vera Wilson, and we're proud to see that Astral has continued to go on and provide early career development incubation support for top classical artists. And we have about 27 artists on the roster right now, and it's always wonderful to get to work with so many amazing young musicians at such a pivotal point in their career. And it's really great for us to be able to share a lot of what we're cooking up in our laboratory through our Center City programming. So we like to view all the concerts we have coming up this season as a unique insight just to see the ongoing process. They're not end results, but they're a window into a lot of activity going on right in your backyard.
Oh, that sounds very exciting. And people can visit your website, astralartists.org, for more information about the entire season. But let's just talk about the block party that we are so excited to present together, WRTI and Astral, tomorrow for the people of Philadelphia, for anybody who wants to come in, for all our listeners, 3 to 5 p.m., 1213 Walnut Street. You know, classical music is usually played in the performance hall or in a home sometimes. Why bring it outdoors?
Well, because it's an awful lot of fun, and that's where we're going to encounter the most people who may not be expecting to hear classical music. And we find that more and more one of the great things that's been changing in the last 10, 15, 20 years are this larger idea of what classical music is and where it takes place. And while there's obviously a special thrill in our top-level artists performing at some of the finest traditional concert halls, we find that oftentimes when music is heard in places where it's not expected, it can lead to curiosity being engaged, and oftentimes people who might not have a relationship with classical music finding a way in. So we think it's so important here to be doing concerts that really impact everyone in the community, that are free, and that might appeal to families, and they're designed to be accessible. And I think it's really wonderful for artists too, because they're learning and interacting in very different kinds of ways as equals, being part of the community rather than standing outside from it.
Thank you, Dan. That's beautifully stated. And I think we would love to hear one more piece that's going to be performed tomorrow at the block party. Rachel Lee Hall and Beomjae Kim. They have one more selection for today's performance, and that will also be performed tomorrow afternoon, 3 to 5 p.m., 1213 Walnut Street. You want to tell us the composer?
Sure. It's written by Astor Piazzolla, an Argentinian composer who wrote a lot of tango music.
And this is from one of his most famous pieces, Histoire du Tango, History of Tango. It's the third movement, 1960, Nightclub. Bravo. That was fantastic. We just heard Rachel Lee Hall on harp and Beomjae Kim on flute in Astor Piazzolla's Histoire du Tango, the third movement, 1960 Nightclub. That was just terrific.
Thank you so much.
And it's just one of the pieces that they'll be performing tomorrow at our WRTI Astral Block Party that's taking place 1213 Walnut Street. We invite all our listeners to come. If you're listening, please come hear this music live. Meet Rachel and Beomjae and their colleagues. Also Brittany Lash on trombone and Zladimir Fung on cello. It's going to be a great deal of fun. Great music, libations, pets, kids are welcome, and you, of course, and great music. Thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having us and for partnering on the block party.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Back to you, Bliss.